Hey, podcast family. Welcome to Motherhood in Black and White. I'm Kaanji.
I'm Tara.
Let's talk about how we are surviving summer. Tara, where did this school year go?
I have no idea.
Okay, I come to you for sage advice when I ask these pointed...
I got nothing.
And that's shocking to me because typically when I ask a question, I was like, I'm going to get the real from Tara. Mm-hmm. I'm going to ask a question and she's going to talk about how time tends to go by a little bit more rapidly the older we get and all these other things. And each season we need to just take it and show up. And you're like, I have no idea.
You gave me a lot of credit in that question. I have no idea.
I always give you a lot of credit. No, so real talk. This school year went by probably more quickly than any of the ones that I've had thus far. Roman, except for maybe the first year of the COVID pandemic.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, and I feel like this is sort of, I don't know if that's true. Maybe a little bit. I feel like we're finally not talking about the COVID pandemic. I feel like time's going faster. Right. I feel like it slowed down for a few years and it feels even faster now that we're sort of on the other side.
Yeah. So let's back up. This school year was interesting because, as our podcast family knows, towards the end of last year and last summer of 2023, you and your family relocated from the Dallas area to Las Vegas.
Yes.
So this was your son's first school year in Las Vegas.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about how Gage did the school year, kind of how he's settling, and some of the differences you've noticed between, I guess, either academics or at schools in Texas versus Las Vegas.
So Gage started his 7th grade year in Las Vegas, and the school district's definitely a little different. And we knew going there that there were some challenges in the school district. So he ended up in a charter school, which was new for us. And it was good. He got there in the summer, so his transition was sort of delayed. And then when we started school, he really got into the thick of, I'm in a new place and a new school and new people. And it wasn't easy. The first couple of months were kind of rocky, and there were a lot of tears, mostly from his mother, just as he was navigating a new place. And then something happened like October, November, and he just was good. Like it just sort of, he turned a corner and we were like, okay, I think we're good. And he did pretty well. His grades weren't great. We definitely had to argue a little bit more this year about just like doing his best and making sure to get his work turned in and things like that. But he came through and passed 7th grade just fine. The difference in the two, I would say, it's interesting being in a charter school just because it's so small. That was new because his middle school here was really big in Dallas. It was really large. And so he was in a smaller school, which is interesting. The electives were a little bit more fun. So he got to take guitar as an elective, and he did like a media arts class. That was nice. I would say in general, it went just fine. We're in the thick of middle school, which I think sucks. Excuse my language. Which I think is just in general is a dumpster fire. So I've had to remember, like, regardless of the move, some of this is just middle school teenager stuff, but he's doing well. He did good. He finished it up. We got through it and ready for 8th grade in a few months.
And before 8th grade, we have to get through this summer.
Yes.
So it will be his 2nd summer in Las Vegas. But tell me a little bit more kind of about what your thoughts are for a teenager and setting them up for success in the summer. I'll share this with you. I think summers were easier for me as a working parent, as a parent who works outside the home, when Roman was really, really young, because I just would send him to the daycare center that he'd been going to. Like, there was no summer break. It was like, buddy, your life is going to continue just as you do.
Different building, yes.
Yeah. And same with even elementary school. What I found when Roman entered middle school was it got harder to structure summers because the all-day camps were no longer an option or available. So curious kind of like what your thoughts are and what you have planned for Gage this summer and how you are going to navigate that as a mom who works outside the home.
Well, I'll be honest. I mean, last summer, it's been 2 summers now that we've deemed him old enough to kind of stay home by himself. I mean, I'm pretty lazy about it, to be honest with you. I mean, he has summer camp that he does for scouts, and so he's usually gone for about a week for that. And I mean, he has chores around the house. So we do have him do a few things around the house, just trash and dishes and picking up after himself and things like that. So he does a little bit of that every day. But honestly, he's really just rotting his brain with video games all day. And if that makes me a bad mom, then I'll own it. We talked, but this summer, what's interesting is he's been talking a lot about wanting to like work out more. So I'm trying to let him kind of lead his own goals and like, well, what would you like to do this summer? Is there anything interesting? And he's kind of in his apathetic phase, so he's not really into anything outside of video games. And I'm trying to let him just kind of lead that way and just with a few responsibilities around the house, but it's pretty chill at my house for the summer.
Can I come stay at your house
yes,
for the summer?
Yes.
I would love it to be super chill in my life. And it's not. And similar, like, you know, our sons are just a little over a year and a half apart, and Roman is, his summer activities basically the same. He does do a lot of, and probably too much, of video gaming. And some of the activities he's involved in, he's into theater and acting and singing. And those are evening activities. So things haven't really changed from the school year. And one of the things that I would have liked to have seen him do, and maybe not this year, because what I've also realized is, you know, Roman just finished 9th grade and he's 15. And next summer, he'll be 16, and hopefully he'll be working and starting to earn his keep, because these teenagers are so expensive, right?
Yes,
that food bill has just, and with inflation, I just have no, I have no words. Yes, exactly. And so a part of me is thinking like, yes, it's okay to kind of just chill this summer. He has a couple of weeks where he's doing internships at the community theater where he does a lot of plays and musicals. And for the most part, he's, you know, sleeping in and just relaxing. And I think I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think I've heard from parents of kids a little older than Gage that somewhere around 16, you start to lose them a little bit. And so part of me is like, enjoy these summers while you have them. Because I do think that as he gets older, there's going to be more responsibility. It's going to get busier. It's okay. And he, for, you know, like you were saying, 6 or 7 summers before that was in camps all day, all summer, no break. So at the end of it, if he ends up with 3 or 4 summers where he just laid around, is that really a big deal? And these summers are getting shorter and shorter.
Right.
Like I turn around, he's going to be right back in school. It goes like that.
Here in Texas, in North Texas where we live, they ended school the week before Memorial Day.
Wow.
Yeah. So he was out for summer break mid-May.
Wow.
I know. Isn't that
Gage
weird
was
to think
a
about?
couple of days before the Memorial Day holiday. So like the middle of the week before Memorial Day.
Yeah. He was out that Thursday or Friday. And then real talk. Let's be real here. Not only has the summer break gotten shorter, but the school year has kind of gotten shorter. Like they stopped teaching weeks before the school year was out. So I remember calling you or texting you, and I was like, for the last 2 weeks, this kid hasn't even gone to school with a backpack.
They like turn in their Chromebooks a week or two before. Yeah. And not to mention, they get way more breaks during the school year than we did. These kids are never in school.
And going back to when I was in school, we had final exams like the last day of the school year.
Yes.
No, the last week and a half or 2 weeks, they literally were watching movies.
Pajamas.
Hanging out. So I think I'm still trying to shift my mindset and like what I experienced and my expectations for kind of his academics and the structure. It's kind of out the window.
Totally different.
But what I want to also make sure I do is realize like, okay, during this summer, because we do only have 3 summers together as a family,
right,
how we can kind of maximize that time. So I will share with you and our podcast family, one thing that we try to do every summer is do a summer trip, and we can kind of spend a week together. And that's something that we're going to hopefully continue this year. And again, the rest of the time, it's not as structured.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of parents who are listening and have kids of different ages, there is that angst because it's like, it's different because it's like you don't have that structure, and how do people and how do moms kind of navigate that? And for this season of my life, having someone who is going to 10th grade, I think it's a little bit easier because I'm not planning as much and not doing as much. And if you listen to a couple of podcasts we did about summer a couple of years ago, you can just hear in our voice, it was different. Like there was a lot of more angst and a lot more planning that was involved.
Yes. I was talking to a friend of mine who has a younger child, and I was remembering because at some point he had aged out of daycare. And so I was having to find a camp for every week. And he was like at a different place every week. And I was having to like schedule them out months ahead and pay for them and then put them on the calendar and like knowing where he was going to be that week. And so, yes, so there are moments where I'm like, this is fine. Like we could do this all day.
That's the part about motherhood that I wasn't expecting, and that I'm still kind of having a hard time adjusting to, is how different it is, not just, from mother to mother, but even in our own motherhood journey, how different it is, like from year to year.
Yeah.
Like the things that we are caring and concerning ourselves with when you have a newborn are so different than when you have a toddler, are different than when you have an elementary school kid versus a high school kid. And it's learning to adapt who we are and how we parent to who this child is or children are at different stages of their life.
Yes. And uncovering new expectations I didn't think I had. You know what I mean?
No, tell me more.
When he was little, I had expectations, and then we've discussed, I had expectations about how many activities I thought he should be doing. I had expectations about how much he should be reading. I had expectations about like how busy he should be. And, as I got to know my kid, I learned that some of my expectations were wrong, and I slowly let go of them. And then you think, oh, okay, well, I've let go of those expectations. Well, now he's a teenager, and I'm like, oh, I have a whole new set of expectations I didn't know about, like about what his grades should look like and how engaged he should be in activities, or not activities, but I realized recently that I have this expectation that I wish he was passionate about something other than video games. Like I wish he was into something. And I'm like, there's plenty of time. He's just a kid. And, so it's like, just when I think I get through one set of expectations and I'm like a really cool hands-off mom, I'm like, oh no, I still have some. They're new. They're coming up all the time.
In just different ways.
Yes.
Yeah. And so when we think about what we're passionate about, what were you passionate about when you were a teenager?
Girl, nothing. New Kids on the Block? I don't know. Like, that's the thing. I don't know. And I think that's why I have the expectation, because I was not into anything really. And some of it was due to just like circumstance. I just wasn't active in a lot of extracurriculars. Some of it was due to just like family time and circumstances like that. And I think I always thought I would be better if I had been. And so I think I've brought that to Gage, right? I'm like, oh, you should be into something because I didn't get to be into something. And I'm like, oh no, that was mine. That's not his. Like, so it's all like opposing. Even when he was little, it's the same. It's all me trying to compensate for something I thought I didn't get.
Oh, absolutely. And right now, and this better than anyone, talking about compensating for things I didn't get. This is me as a 50-year-old woman going to beginner ballet classes. Right?
Yeah.
And so podcast family, a few months ago, I started my dance career as a 50-year-old woman, and I'm getting ready for my first recital. Now, if they put me in a pink tutu, I'm going to have to be like, no.
It's got to be purple.
No, it would have to be purple. And we're not doing the tutus. But I think when we think about the discovery of ourselves, which is ultimately kind of what the parenthood journey is. Like when you are parenting this new soul, it reveals so much about who you are as a person, right? And starting to realize that some of the things that the expectations and the things I was putting on him were so much about either things that I didn't get, thought I should have received, didn't do well enough.
Thought my life would be better if I had,
And trying to then put that on him or do that through him. Like, oh, I have the ability. And again, I'm super fortunate and blessed to be in a space financially that's very different than the one that my mom was in when she was raising us. You know, she was a divorced single mother raising 3 kids when she also was going to school and bettering herself through education. And so I absolutely know that she did the best she could with what she had, and the resources weren't there. We're in a situation where we have one child, kind of try to live below our means, which gives us the flexibility to be able to afford, if we need to put him in classes. And so I think when Roman was younger, I tried to put him in dance classes because that's what I kind of wish had happened for me.
Right.
And he didn't enjoy it. So now I'm like, I'm going to stop doing for you. I'm going to do for me.
That's right. I think that's great.
So now I'm putting myself through dance classes, right? at 50 years old. And so can we talk about the human body?
Please.
And how it just changes when you age.
In ways that you weren't expecting.
And ways that you don't realize until you're in situations. So I'm in an adult dance class, and I shouldn't say that because I think when I tell people I'm doing adult dancing, they have a different idea.
Which I would 100% support.
Listen, I know you would. And it's different. So I'm doing a beginner ballet class for adults. Does that sound better?
That's better.
Okay.
Yes.
Does that change?
That's
kind
right.
of how
grown-ups are in the class.
And most of them are in their 20s and 30s. There are a few women that are in their 40s and 50s. But for the most part, we know I'm super competitive, right? That's just who I am. And so I'll be trying to do things that these 20 and 30-year-olds are doing. And my body is like, no, ma'am. Like, my back is like, I don't do that anymore.
Get the modification, ma'am. Get the modification.
Exactly. And so I've gotten to a point where, and I'm also doing a contemporary dance class. And so a few weeks ago in the class, the instructor, she was like teaching choreography and said, for this section of the choreography, we're going to go down to the ground. We're going to do some roll around. And everyone was doing it. And because I'm now wiser and know kind of what my body is, I raised my hand and I said, Jill, can I have a modification? Maybe I'll just stand and twirl.
Yeah. Can I do the move standing up?
I said, because my knees aren't going to allow me to kind of get back up in the speed that you would like as some of the other dancers. And so I think that what I have made space for this summer is myself and just self-care, right? Yeah. And we've talked about this a lot on our podcast with ourselves and with several guests about that kind of quote unquote work-life balance or work-life flexibility. I think at its core, it is just making sure that we as mothers and as women are in the position just to always put that oxygen mask on ourselves first, whatever that looks like, and to what you just said, Tara, so brilliantly, kind of limit our expectations or adjust our expectations of people around us.
Yeah. Review and discover if those expectations, where they actually belong, if they're even legit, if they're even yours. I mean, that's 90% of it. And yeah, I think there's just so much value in it. And when you were saying for self-care this summer, I was just thinking like, yeah, and self-care for me is that my kid is home playing video games and I'm not thinking about him as much as I normally am. You know, I don't have to worry about his schedule and if he's gotten picked up or if I'm taking him somewhere. And I mean, it's a nice break for me too, you know, and I have zero guilt about that.
Can we talk about how self-care for you involves other people?
Self-care for me involves other people?
You just said it involves thinking about what your kid is doing.
Not thinking.
Thinking.
It means letting go of any guilt I have about him just laying around the house because it means that I don't have to worry about him for a few months.
Gotcha. Yeah, absolutely. I get that. Okay, yeah. I get that. Thank you for clarifying. So what else is self-care looking for you like this summer? And I mean, you had a huge year. Yeah. Like we talked about this in our episodes in 2023, but you know, you got a new role. It's a big role in a new city. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about kind of what that's meant to you and kind of how you're adjusting and navigating this space.
It's been great. I really love the team. I'm glad I took the jump. It is in the last 6 months, which has been since the last time we spoke about it. It's really stretched me in a way that's been pretty uncomfortable. I think, you know, the first 6 months of any job, you're sort of getting your mind right and all the wins feel good and everything's kind of like you're just sort of settling in. And then when I hit the year mark, I'm like, okay, well, now I got to really start. I mean, I got to be doing something, right? And so I think it's been a big role, and then but it's stretching me in ways that I know are going to end up being for my better good and for my growth. I would say right now I'm a little uncomfortable. It's a big job. And this summer, especially, like I have a trip with you and friends. And so that'll be fun. That's going to be a big part of it. But once I get back, like the summer is really going to be about maximizing my time to sort of buckle down and get focused at work in a way that will help me settle in and push through some of the discomfort.
I hear you. And I think one of the most challenging things for us as humans to do is to get uncomfortable. And then that's where we can grow and thrive. But getting there and being there, it doesn't feel good.
It does not.
No. And so I was actually expecting you to talk about your summer of self-care and mention and lean on how I couldn't talk about self-care with you without you mentioning Bridgerton.
Oh, Bridgerton is absolutely self-care. I'm waiting. Yes, I love it so much. Self-care absolutely includes for me some mental vacation via streaming shows, etc. But yes, Bridgerton is a big part of this summer.
I did not know that Bridgerton was a part of your life, and it's something that shocked me. And what also shocks me is we know this podcast family that Tara has trash taste in pop culture in general, for most part, with the exception of music. Like we are almost 100% aligned on our music taste, whether respect to indie rock or 90s hip hop. We really love a lot of the same music groups and types of music. Where we differ greatly and where our friendship has been stretched and tested is Tara's TV and movie selection. So now that Tara lives in Las Vegas, I travel to Vegas to see her, and we go to music festivals or alleged music festivals that get canceled at the last minute.
Rude.
Shout out to the Lovers and Friends Festival that canceled at the last minute, but concerts there. And when I'm in her house looking at her Netflix queue and also recently viewed, and I just shake my head in judgment. Because those are some of the worst titles I've ever seen. And what I've realized is part of me showing up for my friends is like, well, one of the things I want to do is learn about things that they like. And so after they announced Bridgerton season 3, and I didn't even know there was a season 1 or 2, I'd heard about, but never really.
You didn't watch Queen Charlotte?
No. So I guess this is like the 4th part of Bridgerton.
Yeah.
Okay. I said, I am going to, in solidarity with Tara, watch Bridgerton season 3.
So impressed.
And maybe what I should have done is started at season 1 because I was so lost.
You didn't know any of the
I know what was going on.
characters.
But I said, I'm going to watch this and see if I enjoy it. Curious as to what it is about Bridgerton that gets you. Because, you strike me as like this. Well, you were this really intellectual, really deep, profound thinker. And Bridgerton is none of those things.
Listen, What's
the appeal?
I love me some super generic romantic tropes. Okay? Like it is my brain candy. It makes me check out and feel good. And I love it. So the first one is a fake fiance to real love trope. The second one was, what story was the second one? Why am I blanking? Oh, the second one is enemies to lovers trope. And all of my girls out there that read these books and watch these shows know what I'm talking about. And the third one was unrequited love, friends to lovers trope. And I love them. And I have no guilt about it. And it makes me happy.
So how did you feel about Netflix splitting it up in 2 parts? Because I watched the first, was it 3 or 4 episodes?
4 episodes.
Okay, I watched
4 more.
And when the other ones are coming out, like how are you able to deal with that excitement, right? And just like,
it's crazy because luckily they ended it well. Like they didn't end it on a cliffhanger where you didn't get a little bit of action. So that was nice. You're like, oh, okay, it's going to happen. And now the next half of the season is going to be more about the drama around the secret, right? So I'm okay with that. They did a good job of where they split it, which has made it easier because at least I know they got together. Spoiler alert, if you haven't watched it yet, you should have already watched it. At least I know that it's happening. And so now I get to watch the drama in the second half. So they did a good job of where they split it.
So what I'm hearing from you is that one of the ways that you are surviving summer is A, staying out of the Las Vegas heat.
That's true.
And B, watching Bridgerton and all other like romantic comedies or whatever movies that there are out there.
Or reading.
Yes.
Or watching. Yes. That's
I like the way that you try to like bring the intellectual bent to it. Like, oh yes, and also
and reading. Sometimes I use my brain a little bit more.
Yeah.
How are you surviving summer? You guys have had a bunch of wild weather here.
Yeah. So Texas, thankfully we were spared a lot of the wild weather that came through late spring, early summer, where it was just torrential downpours. We had some violent weather with severe thunderstorms and tornadoes, tornadic activity, and we were lucky to have avoided that. The only problem is we like to be outdoors, and so you were kind of forced indoors, just watching it rain always. As I mentioned, one of the things that I'm doing this summer is I'm really focused on on dancing,
I love
right? I turned 50, and one of the things that I had done before I turned 50 was making a list of the 50 things I wanted to do before I turned 50. And a couple of them involved dancing. Like I wanted to take tap classes and ballet and contemporary dance, and that's something that I've continued. And it was unfortunate that the studio that I found mentioned that they were going to, for the first time, do a dancing showcase for their adult students. And so I'm practicing and trying to get ready for that and not embarrass myself on stage this fall.
I cannot wait.
Oh my gosh. I want people to be there, and to also, I'm so nervous about having people there, but that's kind of where we talk about that growth, right?
Yes.
Being uncomfortable and getting okay with it. Like I know that my 50-year-old body is not going to be up on that stage dancing like Misty Copeland, but in my heart, I'm going to be...
You're going to feel it.
I'm going to feel it deeply. I'm going to be channeling my inner Debbie Allen up there on that stage. Now, it's probably no video because it's going to look like trash, but I know I'm going to do my best. And my summer is going to be spent doing that. And as I mentioned, taking a couple of weeks off from work, a couple of trips planned, but also just finding that time to make sure that every single day I do something for myself, and every single day I try to stay connected to Roman, my 15-year-old. Oh, and the one thing I'm not looking forward to surviving summer is teaching Roman how to drive. Yeah, Tara, you had your first experience in the car with him. And I'm shocked that neither of us screamed out loud, but didn't we want to?
I did. I was like, he does not need three of us, and I'm not his parent. So I'm going to sit in the back with my mouth closed. And that's all I'm going to do. But yes, I did want to. I was very consciously not saying anything.
Yeah. So podcast family, if any of you are in this season where you're also teaching a teenager how to drive, please reach out to us on social media. And I would love some tips from you, because I don't know how I'm going to survive the next 6 months with teaching this teenager how to drive.
You could do it. He did great.
Stay tuned. More stories.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, exactly. More stories to come.
Make sure you follow us on social as well. We're at Black and White Momcast on Instagram.
Absolutely. And not only is there more to come with stories of how our teens are surviving summer, how we are surviving summer as we navigate this season in life, but there's also going to be more podcast episodes to come. So what I would love for you to do, podcast family, is click like or subscribe so you'll be notified when a new episode drops. As we know, we are not going to promise weekly episodes. We are going to just pop in whenever the spirit moves us, right?
Which is going to make it even more important for you to subscribe so that they'll pop right up in your feed when they're there.
100%. For those of you that have been rocking with us since 2020, we deeply appreciate it and appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in and for listening to another episode. Tara and I love sharing our stories and our hearts with you each and every time we get behind the microphones. So from our hearts to yours, thank you for listening and for being a part of our family. With that being said, we hope that you guard your health, mental, physical, and spiritual, and that you take good care, podcast family.